In the second part of tonight's class, we focused on ourselves as the ultimate teachers of our children, not what we say, what we do, and reflected on our parents and the lessons they taught us.
I just have an example.
Yes.
Anytime someone comes to the door, whether it's the mashallah, whether it's a delivery guy, my kids always run and get them a water bottle. That's something, the mailman, anytime, and I love it. Or like whenever they see 6:13 on the clock, okay, stop everyone, do a mitzvah, thank Hashem for something. I know it sounds kind of funny and like corny, but like the whole I did that when they were little, and now even every night, anyone sees the clock at a time, everyone stops and thanks Hashem for like one or two things.
Did you give the mailman the water bottle, or they just see how you give to people and that's how they transferred it?
No, I would give, I would give the man a water bottle. Can I get you water? Can I get you, tea or something? And now if I'm at home, or if, delivery guy is coming, they're always running to get a water bottle. It's really nice.
That's so beautiful. I was just driving Monday night, driving my daughter to the airport, and we stopped, and, there was some person, collecting money. And I never give these people money. I don't feel it's appropriate to give money, but I would always try to have food in my water bottles or food in my car to give. I used to, maybe I'm out of practice. And my daughter said, "Oh, Ma, here, I have these beautiful apples. Offer her an apple." And I said, I didn't think she'd want it. I said, would you like an apple? She said, "Oh, I'm so hungry." I gave her one apple. I gave her a second apple. I said to my daughter, I said, I always did this for years. I would just keep it in the car. And it was that nachas of just, I don't know that she linearly remembered, but it's just sort of something they absorb. Let's go back to what I was saying before, though. If you could think of yourselves as children who are now adults, can you think of good things you saw your mother do or your father, but resentfully, unhappily, and how that flavored what you did? Or conversely, good things that they did happily and that flavored your vision?
My mom hated Pesach, complained about it every minute. She did it.
Oh my God, yeah, that's totally you.
I complain about it, and that's me. But you know what? It is hard. And I hate it. I guess maybe my mother tainted it a little bit, but it's hard and I don't like it.
And I believe your mother tainted it a lot. Not to blame, I'm a wonderful person, but I do know my children, almost all my children say Pesach is their best time of year.
If you're a kid, yes, not as an adult.
No, because I don't think if you were a child and your mother's so upset and resentful, I don't think you felt it was the best time of year because your mother's...
No, I liked it as a child.
Oh, you liked it as a child.
I liked Pesach as a child. I do not like it as an adult. It's too hard. And I don't complain Rosh Hashanah, and I don't complain Sukkot. I cook and I host, and I'm happy to do it. It's a change. It's not the cooking, it's the cleaning and the changing the dishes and the koshering.
It's a lot, and you got to think how to space it out. So the message you give your children is, I like it.
No,
because you like to break the generational trauma.
No.
And I do feel my children, when they make Pesach, they do like it because it was always, I do like Pesach. I never minded the cleaning. I actually minded much more the cooking. But I try to streamline it for myself. But it definitely was the sense of, this is such a special time of year. We're all together. When are we all together and stuck in a house together for so many days? This is so wonderful. And I do hope and think that's what my kids have absorbed. I don't think I'm perfect. I probably in other things I've given them some negative messages, but I think in Pesach we're pretty good.
My mom.
Can I jump in on that? Because
Sure.
I think that whether it's Pesach or anything else, that if something has whatever feeling attached to it, that is, I'm hearing dread, basically, then the question has to be, how do I make it fun? And I would even open the topic, have a conversation with your kids, because for many people, kids of a certain age have a natural sense of fun that sometimes unfortunately gets a little muffled as people think that they have to be more responsible. They think that they're supposed to muffle their sense of fun. And it could be that by opening that discussion where you say, kids, I want Pesach to be fun. I want even the preparations, the koshering to be fun. How do you think we can make it fun? Let it be a big brainstorming session. so that you can reclaim the fun within it.
That's
It is possible.
There is
It's
no fun in
absolutely possible.
Again,
Pesach.
I was going to say, my nature doesn't go to fun. My nature goes more to like pleasure, but I like what you're saying. I'm thinking yesterday, it was just yesterday, life blurs. But my son, my special needs 9-year-old son, was having a meltdown about something. I don't even remember. I think he was refusing to go to the bathroom, but it might have been something else. And I was so desperate, I started singing this like funny song I was making up as I was going along. And I was just like, and my husband was watching me. He's like, look, you got mommy to sing this crazy song. But it was just like the only thing I could do to move him to the bathroom. And I'm just making up the sounds as we go along, and this crazy, ridiculous, funny song, and it worked. So I hear what you're saying, because I would not call myself a fun person, but I made it fun and we got to the bathroom, so it worked. So maybe fun. Like, I would look at it more like, how can I make it easier? How could I make it that I enjoy? How could I make it that what do I dread? I dread the work, or I dread the costume, or I dread the shopping. How do I make those things positive? Because I was making a joke, but not really a joke. I do want to stop the generational trauma. I don't want to say, yeah, my mother didn't like it and I don't like it and I bet my kids won't like it. I want to say I changed my attitude, and I want to be able to tell my kids, hey, guess what, guys? This year, I'm enjoying Pesach. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. I figured out a better way to do it. I'm enjoying it. It's great. It's wonderful. Anyone else?
Okay, Ms. Turin?
Yes.
I did that this past, I told you, I did this past Sukkot. I used to like host 1,000 people davening by us a day with a huge tent and a whole to-do and craziness and, special food. This time, I'm like, you know what, guys? Pack your own clothes. Even my 3-year-old packed his own clothes.
I was so proud of you when you told me that.
He didn't pack anything. He looked homeless the entire Yontif. I'm sure people in Lakewood and New York thought we were totally homeless and just something was wrong with us. But I didn't care. And my Yontif was so amazing. But like, the food was whatever. No one had any clothes to wear. I didn't do any laundry. So everything was just dirty. I just didn't care. And it was the most amazing Pesach ever. I mean,
exactly.
Sukkot.
It was that you freed yourself from, we've got to be dressed a certain way. We've got to do this a certain way. We've got to do this a certain way. And all of those things like stifle, constrict, make you unhappy. So your kids look gorgeous and everyone's unhappy and tense. And the house is spotless and everyone's unhappy and tense. And the meals are spectacular and everyone's unhappy and tense. So the kids look like a mess, and the house was like a mess, and the food was like a mess, and everyone was happy.
Yeah, we had such a good time. It was like, I'm telling you, it was so against my personality, having stuff everywhere, and the kids literally wearing clothes for 3 days straight, and like filthy. And I was like, I don't know, I was just so laid back, and it was amazing.
It's best. And that's such a gift you gave your children. And that's what I try to think sometimes, not all the time, just every once in a while. I think like, what do I want my kids to remember? What memories do I want them to have from growing up? And I want them to have memories of just joy and happy times and fun times and laughing and family times. And of course, I'd love them to think they had a spotless house, but I don't think that's going to make a big difference. But if they feel that they were raised by happy parents, people that are happy with themselves, happy with their lives, happy with their marriage, happy with their children, happy with the Eibishter, happy with God, happy in their Judaism, that's the gift I want to give my kids. And sometimes I have to realign myself and remember that and not decide I care more about how clean the house is.
Okay, one more thing that's been really helpful. Now if my kids are doing things that I normally wouldn't like, or let's say like I'm making chicken and they want to help me, but I know they're gonna make a massive mess with breadcrumbs everywhere. I look at them and I say, okay, now or 25 years from now. And it really helped me because I'm thinking like, now it's gonna be a big mess, so it'll be cleaned up. In 25 years, this little 7-year-old boy can be helping his wife in the kitchen. Like, why would I not do that? So it really helps looking at the kids, thinking 25 years down the road. And it's been really nice.
That's a great line. Now or 25 years? That's a great line. As I let my daughter bake tonight, and everything she was doing was exactly what I didn't want her to do, and I just kept saying, fine, do it your way. You're not doing it my way. You're not using my recipe. You're doing it your way. And like, just let it be. Let it be. Anyone can think. So Yael shared something. Anyone else can think in either direction when they were a child, messages they absorbed from their parent of, like, again, we're talking about being selfless, but it could be anything that the parent was doing and doing joyfully and something they really absorbed as positive, or maybe something good the parent was doing, but there was a resentment. So they sort of absorbed it with the coloring, with the negative feeling attached.
I'll redeem my mother.
You didn't redeem her yet.
No, I grew up Sephardi conservative, so not totally observant, but not totally unobservant either. And but everything was God willing, God forbid, with God's help, Be'ezrat Hashem, like a tremendous sense of emunah, and I think, and just spirituality. And my mom would light, she always lit on Friday nights on time. But, you know, after we lit, like, she might turn on the TV, but the ovens were always off.
I'm sure your mother always went to mikvah.
No.
She didn't? Most Sephardim do.
She didn't, because in America it was too hard and it wasn't close and this and that. She started going back for a little bit, but I don't think
Sephardim is very interesting that many Sephardi women that are not Orthodox in other ways, but they still do mikvah.
Yeah. I think if there was a mikvah within walking distance, she could have gone, she would have, but it wasn't convenient. So, but I just grew up with that spirituality and that sense of whatever. And then Friday nights, she would always light on time, but then she would spend like 15 minutes just praying just like talking to God and praying. And I do that now, but my girls don't do that, which really irritates me. And then when I see
give them another 20 years.
I hope. I don't know, and like if I'm with other women and they light, it's like it's so anticlimactic. They light, it takes 10 seconds, say a bracha, takes 5 seconds, and they're done. And I'm like, that's it? I'm sitting there for like 15 minutes. I got an opportunity to talk to God. I got things to say. So
you redeemed your mother. She gave all that to you by a gift. That's one of the explanations for the term we use a lot called zechus avos, right? Zechus avos, the merit of our parents. And of course, it does mean, zechus avos does mean that good things your parents do are merits that give you blessings and salvation in your life. That's 100% true. But zechus avos also means that whatever your parents were or worked on becoming, you get as a, and I could definitely see that in myself. So many things I see with my father. So very careful with charity, was very careful with kosher. And those things were just natural to me. It wasn't work. It's just how I was raised. I saw things with my mother also, that she prioritized spirituality. And that was just natural to me. That's how I was raised. That's just what I was without having to think about it. So we all, as we're thinking about ourselves and this whole idea of the circumcision and the selflessness and putting God first and taking the physical and making it spiritual, we are instructing our children every second. And when I asked for examples and people couldn't come up with it, like it or not, you are your child's ultimate teacher. And if we are self-centered, God forbid, we're teaching that to them. And if we are resentfully selfless, that's what we're teaching them. And if we're joyous in putting God first and putting other people first and giving to others, that's what they learn without any effort. It's just like, I could think of one of my children saying to me, Ma, it's your fault. All my friends can be so dishonest, but I don't know, I just can't be. It's all your fault. And I was like, yes, something happened, Something happened that she wasn't looking for, so to speak, that she didn't work on at all. But if you're just raised with that, especially raised with that in a positive way, it just becomes you. And that's the gift we can be as parents to our children. So sometimes it's just natural. Like Yael is saying, her mother wasn't trying to give her a message. Her mother is this warm, Sephardic Moroccan woman with deep Kabbalistic roots. So that's her life. It doesn't matter what she's doing. She does believe in it all and it flows from her. But we could be proactive. We could think, what do I want to gift my child with? Or what does this child need? Like Aliza was talking before about making something fun. And if you feel your children don't love the Shabbos or don't love the holiday or don't love having guests, she's so right. Make it fun. Make it child-centered. Make it something that you want your child to look forward to Shabbos. You want to ask your child, what food should I make for Shabbos? And it doesn't make a difference what they say. It doesn't make a difference how not Shabbos-tic those foods are. If this is going to make them excited, if you're going to have games and that's going to make them excited, if you're going to have company or you're not going to have company and that's going to make them excited, it's a gift you give your child. Let them love Shabbos. You can do it. And it's true for everything. For any gift, spiritual or physical, emotional, psychological, that we want to give our children, if we think about it and really make it ourselves in a very obvious way, in a positive way, in a happy way, we're all born circumcised. Every woman is born circumcised, which means naturally we have the spirituality. Naturally we have the selflessness. Naturally we can put others before ourselves. And naturally we can do this for our children. Now, if you think about it, so I said that women are born circumcised, but men have a foreskin that has to be cut off. And the question is so why did God do that to the men? He could have created them without a foreskin. The answer is no, because God wanted the work of removing it. God wanted that self-work. And Kabbalistically, we're told that when you remove the foreskin and you're revealing the organ underneath, a veil is lifted from our soul, revealing the intrinsic bond with Hashem. This bond is universal to all Jews. The bris doesn't create the bond, it reveals it. And that's why I'm saying the Talmud says that every woman is like circumcised, because we have that bond already in a woman, generally very obviously revealed. It is the reason that we spiritually do things with our children. We're told for a boy, from the bris, from a girl, from birth. So for a boy, we start washing negavasa with the children and having them wear a kippah from the bris. For a girl, you start washing negavasa right away. She already is gemalit. She already has that spirituality. So the bris